instructor, and I wanted to interview her to, at the bottom of the hour, and she has licensed 9 people to be pilots already, and but she called and says she didn't call. She texted me last night and says, no, I think she was scared. The phone connection is not good, but I was looking for. It was at the Waypoint Restaurant in Camarillo. I was at Camarillo in the Waypoint Restaurant, and I saw a lot of people talking to her. She flies out of there. She was a pretty young lady.
So what makes a pilot licensed to train? Where do they have to go
She gets
through?
a pilot's license, then she gets a commercial license, and she gets the...
And how many hours does she have to do?
I'm not sure how many hours. I'm not I'm just a private pilot. But she gets to train, and she gets her training, and she teaches people to fly all the time. And she's going to move to Hawaii, and I wanted to interview her today to see how many females she had licensed to fly, and I thought she's a very interesting lady, and she decided not to call in today. I wanted her to call in at the bottom of the hour, but she's only 27, and she's a flight instructor.
That's dedication.
That is dedication. And her mother was there and says, boy, she's really was one of those, not a tomboy, but she just loved to do all things. And that takes a lot of work. Most of my instructors are all been, 30, 40 years old, but there are some younger ones. But she's a young lady, and she teaches flight instruction. She got a commercial rating. Wow. I should have brought that up to Richard when he called in. But she teaches people how to fly. She's very busy, and she's getting ready to move to Hawaii to teach people over there how to fly from island to island to island over there. So I was looking so much at talking to her. And her name is Taring. And so it's just too bad that I really was looking forward to an interviewing with her and talking about flying and things of this nature. Okay. Well, the reason I brought it up, I guess, is we got John on the phone. John in Chatsworth, welcome to the program.
Hey there.
How are you, John?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Are you a pilot?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any young instructors teaching you how to fly?
No, not anymore. I can't go up anymore. But my God, to talk to you. Hello. Yes, the CFII. My father-in-law, or my oh, geez, Louise. My godfather was my flight instructor, and John Edward Costello, Bud Costello. I don't know if you were. He flew around the same time you did back in the day. And my airplane question was, if when you're doing a mag check and you go down to the, I went down to no mag and back up, and it backfired. Is that a go or no go?
Well, here's what, and I hope that's what you're talking about. You got an ignition key, and it says off, mag 1, mag 2, and start. And so,
correct. I went all the way off and went back on, and like I don't know why, and it backfired.
Well, if you turned it completely off and turned it back on, it still had fuel in the cylinders, and it backfired, and that's quite common. But if you went to one mag, one of the two that you have on the plane, either mag 1 or mag 2, and it backfired when you turned it back on, there's a problem. Do not fly that day.
So that's a no-go.
Yeah, it's a no-go. That's to park it, get back in your car, and drive.
So a mag on an airplane, it basically has 2 distributors.
2 magnetos.
Just 2 magnetos.
2 magnetos, which acts as a distributor.
Cylinder. Oh, is that the Lance Boyd talking?
Yeah, that's Lance talking.
I'm trying to get in here.
Way good.
No, we got... when you talk about airplanes, we got 2 magnetos, and it operates 6 spark plugs. Well, it depends on whether it's 4-cylinder or not, but 6 spark plugs. And one mag runs 3, the other runs 3. Or, no, that's not true.
This is a Citabria.
A Citabria, they have 2 spark plugs on it.
Yeah.
One mag runs one set and one mag runs the other set. So but they alternate. It's really hard for me to explain it on there. They do alternate. So if it cuts off and you hit one mag, that means that it's time to park it.
I got another one for you. How about this? A 70-something Chevy C10 with a 454, high compression pistons, a racing cam from the 60s. How it can't be smogged. What do you do with it?
You just wait a few more years and wait. I think it'll be smogged. I think 70 is below that. So you got a C10, but you got a Chevrolet pickup truck there with a 454 in it.
Yeah,
and I think 76
a motor in it, and with the racing cam and all the rest of it.
Well, that don't mean anything to me, the racing cam, but that doesn't have anything to do with the smog. I don't think that car needs smogging because it's a 70. 76 is the break-off year, so you do not need a smog on that vehicle. A smog check, I should say.
Way cool. Yeah, you feel it before you hear it.
You feel what?
The motor.
Oh, you feel you got a big block in there. You got a 454 cubic inch engine in there, and then you got probably a very radical cam involved, and so therefore it makes it just idle rough, and you feel it. And
do you remember Engel Racing?
Engel Racing cams. I've used many of them. Escuderian cam. I use many of them. Ed Escuderian is still around. And I still see him from time to time. I bought many of his cams.
When I lived in Santa Monica, it was like the big deal.
Yeah, everything back in the early days was the big deal. But now you can buy engines now. See, that industry has sort of gone away. Like Lance mentioned last week, Edelbrock is moving out of the Torrance area. They've been in here for,
oh my gosh,
50
Edelbrock is gone?
Well, they're moving to Mississippi, somewhere like that. And
oh, my gosh.
But people don't use carburetors anymore, and they make superchargers. So there's not a lot of – you can buy cars today that are really fast. I've been building racing engines and things all my life, and I've got a Corvette that's faster than anything that I think I've ever built. So, and I bought it right off I built the engine myself, but that really doesn't have anything to do with it because I built it to the specs that they gave me. But I'll tell you, it is one heck of a vehicle. And I thank you so much for your call. I appreciate your call. And let's see if we can squeeze in another call here. Let's go and speak to, let's see who we've got here. I think Gary. Gary's next. Gary, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Well, hello, Leon. Well, I'm going to talk about electric, but that guy that just called?
Yes, sir.
Way too much compression. He's going to put an 8-to-1 compression and a stock cam, then he'll pass. And, I mean, Lance can agree with me on that.
He don't need to pass. It's only a 1970.
Oh, no. He said it was a 77.
Oh, I didn't hear him say 77. Yeah. I thought he said a 70.
He said it was 1977.
77, then he needs a smart chair. It's not going to pass.
That's right. Yeah, so
I did not hear that.
Just to restore the car, keep it, and just enjoy driving it from time to time.
I have to play it back. I thought he said 7-0.
That's what I thought, too.
Yeah, and even Lance said a 70. But
well, yeah, when he started talking about it, I thought he said 1977. I thought it was what he said.
Well, one of us is right and one of us is wrong.
Okay.
But anyway, I told him, in the event it is a 70, he does not need a smog.
He just has nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about. But if it is a 77, yes, he has something to worry about.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right,
Back to the electric cars. Back to the electric cars. I'll tell you, number one.
You're going to boil his blood again, huh?
Well, here, Lance, you can probably agree with me on this one. As far as these electric cars, over 2 million people have been killed since 1994 in crosswalks and accidents where people do not hear the cars.
They do not hear them. There was an article one time that when you come to a stop, they would start making a noise.
That's what I heard.
That in a crosswalk for people who are vision impaired, or not vision impaired as much as hearing impaired, they could hear the car. Now I haven't heard anything about it in quite a while now.
Yeah. Well, I went to look it up on Wikipedia, and they had all these stats.
Yeah, and
But,
let me know about that when you look it up.
Oh, boy, let me tell you, Leon, it's a problem. I mean, look at the original EV1 that GM made. You know, they destroyed those cars because people couldn't even hear them run. And you know, I mean, this is the thing.
The EV1 was one of the first cars GM came out with. They gave me a car to drive, and I live in the Valley. And when I drive, my shop was on 3rd Street near Farmers Market. And when I got there, I had to take it over to the Peterson Museum, and Lance would come pick me up because they have a charging station there because it's got a gauge on it, like a fuel gauge, you know, full, half charged. And just driving it from the Valley over to my shop, it was already below half. And I said, I'm not going to be able to get home. And so I would charge it. Lance take me back over there in the evening. Then I could make it back home. Then I'd plug it in when I get home. Now, Harley-Davidson came out with a electric motorcycle. I don't know if you know about that. They came out with electric called the E-something, and then the E-bike. And the guy was test driving it, and he only got 70 miles on the charge. He had to spend the night at a hotel, it said, and he couldn't make it back home till he got it charged up, and it went back. And now Harley, to my knowledge, has quit making that bike right now.
Well, Leon, what it all comes down to is hybrid vehicles. You've even said it yourself, and the same with you too, Lance. Hybrid vehicles make sense.
They make sense.
Total electrics?
Total electric does not make sense. It makes sense. To this day, I've never talked to anyone that has said anything negative about an electric vehicle. They all fell in love with it. When naturally they bought it, what are they going to say? They hate the car. But everybody liked the car. I've only had 2 people that's telling me they didn't like all the electronics on it in the morning. They're not computer savvy. So during the night, they will update everything. Like your cell phone, sometimes you plug it in and it comes back and there's something different on it. And you get in the car and it just looks different screen, so it takes a while to figure out where everything is at.
Yeah. Well, Leon, I mean, what it all comes down to is whatever people are happy with, they're going to buy.
That's
right.
I
mean, what our current president, he's only been there in 19 days, and look what he's doing to our country. And
don't get me going.
The industry that we had with Donald Trump was so much better. And I mean, people are always going to buy gasoline engines. You know, you're not going to get everyone out of gasoline engines. I mean, I'm a prime example. I drive 20,000 miles a year.
Yeah, but if you
and I drive an old Jeep Grand Cherokee and I go off road. Yeah. And I mean, I could never use an all electric vehicle. There's no way.
They won't. I don't know what they're going to do, but if you and I own a dealership, from what I've read, now it could change. If you and I own a dealership, a Chevrolet dealership, and we can only sell electric cars by 2035, we could not sell a gasoline car. What's up with that? I mean,
that's called no business. That's what that's called. It's called no business.
That's called.
You're going to wind up going broke because, I mean, there are so many people. I mean, in Washington, I mean, a prime example. They're saying that we have to eliminate, fuel burning vehicles. Could you imagine if we actually eliminated fuel burning? I mean, this lady that wanted to talk to you earlier today, she's a flight instructor. She's 27 years old. You're going to tell me that we are going to have a Boeing 747 that runs entirely on electric engines?
Yeah, where they go get the fuel from? She didn't say electric, but I mean, it's true. France has come out, and there's several companies come out with small planes and that are electric, and I would not fly in one, but they claim it'll last, got an hour's worth of flying. That's not going to work because I'd have to wear a parachute.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to wear a parachute. Should you imagine 367 people on a plane wearing a parachute? Only have the people get out of the plane before it crashes to the ground.
No, it's going to make it just because don't forget, as I said, there's got to be some foundry that's making copper wiring.
Oh my God! Now you want to talk about materials on the Teslas? Just Teslas alone?
I know. And then the problem is
they use platinum in those. Leon, I went to look it up. They use platinum on the electrical contacts.
That's right. And
you realize how much that cost?
It costs more to build an electric car than it does an internal combustion engine.
Absolutely. And you know what? When you started, just before you got on the air with me and John, the sound of a gasoline engine, there is nothing that will replace the sound of a good pro stock car running 640s at 215 miles an hour. Right, Leon?
You got that right.
You got that right.
Okay, you guys have a great day.
There's only one thing that I would like is I'd like to be driving it. That's all.
Well, you talk about the G-forces in a car like that. I don't think I could take it, Leon. It probably detach